Hello. Hi. Hey everyone. Welcome to the September Q&A live stream. Monique here from Silver Paw Studio, Pro Pet Photog, currently sitting in the green room. So welcome. This is our monthly QMA, AMA, Q&A, AMA, whatever you want to say. You can ask your questions about pet photography. And let's welcome everyone. Patty's here. I think you were the first in the house, Patty. Awesome sauce. Okay, and Heather's here. Hello. And they're saying hello to each other. So that's wonderful. I love that. I love our community here. It's so amazing. Yes, I am doing well. No, Patty, no. Oh my gosh, could you recover it? Oh my gosh, I hope so. Oh, that's technology with you. Darn it. It's just testing you constantly. I know it's coffee with my little frothy thing. If y'all listen to the Pro Pet Photog podcast, one of my small segments was like, I got this little frothy thing, so I can have my own fancy coffee at home. Yeah. I shouldn't though, because it's 3 in the afternoon. Oops. All right, before we get started, let me roll through all of the normal things. I'll start at the top. Especially if the replay viewers only been live for a minute or so. So here's some resources for you if you just want to cut to some of the things I've pre-made over on a other hand, propetphotog.com. I have Canva templates, I have courses, I have checklists, I have freebies, all kinds of fun stuff. The membership opportunities are being revamped and they'll be opening again in December. I'll tell you more about that later. It's pretty cool. Facebook, of course, this is our Facebook group. There's actually a Facebook page now too. I don't know if I have that over here. Oh, I do. So this is our group. This is a closed group. In order to be accepted into this group, you must answer every question. I think there's 3 or 4. You have to answer all of them. If you don't, I will just ignore your request. That's just how that goes. But there's a page. If you want an open public page, there's that too. Instagram, Pro Pet Photog, kind of Pro Pet Photog everywhere. The podcast, which comes and goes with seasons. Yeah. Oh, direct email right there. Whew. Okay, so those are some of the banners. If you have questions about any of those, type them in the comments. I will see them on my screen on the side here. Let me come back over to your comments. Patty, what is happening? How to take it to a computer repair shop? Replace the hard drive with an SSD and 4 terabyte regular hard drive with a 16 gig. Oh, more RAM. Ooh, good. Well, more RAM is good. So he was able to get your data, right? Were you able to get all your data off it? Well, that's the important part. Hey, Catherine, how is Alaska? I saw somewhere, maybe Instagram, that you were maybe getting a kitten. Ooh, do tell. You made it. Yes, you did. It's got to be like, what time is it there? Noon? 11? Something like that? You had backups except for your presets. Oh, okay. When we picked it up, I asked the tech if it would run fine now. He said it will run better than it ever had. Okay. Like he was able to repair the actual hard drive? Oh, wow. That's amazing. Okay. Super fast. Okay, well, there's the plus side. I don't know if you're a member of PPA, but they will often do those repairs for you. You just have to fill out the incident form or, whatever the claim. Sometimes it's not worth it because if it's about the same as what the deductible would be, you know what I mean? But hopefully you're able to get some help with insurance that way. Oh, she did. Oh, yay. Oh, kitten. Okay. So I'll be watching for her on your Instagram. Yeah. Cute. And she's a little, oh my gosh, I swear I just slid past it yesterday like a calico. Is that right? Yeah. Or a tortie. I don't know. We see a lot of cats on the internet, but I kind of thought I thought it was you. Okay, how is everybody doing? I think since we talked last, I've done a lot of different things. Yeah. Oh, it's 104. Oh, I was off by an hour at least. It's only a 2-hour difference where you are. Oh, okay. All right, cool. I'd forgotten that Alaska's only that one more hour from Washington State. I think Hawaii is more like 5 hours. Ooh, she has blue eyes? Ooh, nice, so pretty, lots of good photo ops there. I'm trying to remember what I've done since we talked last. I did go on a trip, a road trip to Arizona to take Steve's daughter Emmy to college, and that was great, and we recorded some videos for our wildlife and nature photography channel, Cattail Chronicles, right here. So check that out. That was pretty fun. I also had a grandbaby born. So I have 2 little ones in Georgia now, which is super cool. We'll go see them in November in a couple of months. That's awesome. That's what I've been up to. I did the big book project and I was going to place the final order today, but they need to get me the proof. There's just like a pre-press proof that they email to me. It's just a PDF just to make sure everything is in the cut lines, stuff like that, and then I'll be able to order all the books and just be done with that, except for a brochure that I'm working on to go with it. So it's kind of interesting to have that whole huge project done. So did that. I watched some of the Hair of the Dog Summit. I hope some of you caught that. I caught the ones I really wanted to, and some that I thought were I'd run out of time. I watched them on like one and a half or two times speed. So I got through a bunch of them. I really like the marketing guy one with the giant dry erase calendar. So I actually got one of those, and it's laying in my living room with all my dry erase pens, planning out the rest of this year and the first half of next year. That's pretty cool. Heather, did the Stray Aid show Sunday the 18th? Tricky business event oh, were you actually photographing the animals at the event? Oh, that is hard. Yeah, I have an event this week. What am I doing? I'm going somewhere Saturday. Oh, it's like Furry Fling or something like that. It's one of the big pet food companies around here. They were, now they're back. You know how it is. They were doing a adoption type event, and so there's a few vendors. It should be pretty small scale. Unfortunately, they chose the same weekend as the ginormous Tour de Corgi that comes through Fort Collins. Wow. I know Frank's going to handle the video for that, and someone from Camera Club's doing the photos, just volunteer basis. And I said, "Oh, I gotta do this booth for my business. I don't want to volunteer to do all that for the Tour de Corgi. It's pretty crazy." So maybe some of those corgis will end up over at the adoption event. Oh gosh. So let's see. Did you take pictures? You did watch Hair to Dog. Okay. So, Heather, did you take actual photos at the event too? I'm not gonna do that. I rarely do that. It's just too crazy at the time, even for small events. Like, if there's adoptable dogs around, there's people walking through, and it's so hard to do. I'd rather pet everybody's dogs and have them enter to win a session, and give out people candy and stuff like that. That's what I do. Yeah, I actually recorded a whole video of my whole booth setup that I did, for the one event I did this year back in June. So it should be beautiful weather Saturday. Oh, so nice. The only problem is that we can't go up into the mountains, and look at the colors if I'm at this event. I suppose we can go in the afternoon. Dana watched them all. Okay, at least in bits. I'll also love the marking guy and the website one. Did I watch the website one? I don't think I did. I think I might have missed that one. I probably got little bits of it. Um, Last year, I actually taught a website class, kind of similar with my web designer. It's like I was trying to choose which things I had time for because I didn't buy the pass. I guess I probably could have. Yeah. Heather, come back here. Yes, some turned out really well. Just photos for the charity, not for money. Gotcha. Yeah. 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 Um, Yeah, I'll do that at, like, fundraisers. You've probably seen that. That's right, I had a photo booth indoors at the big gala, so there's not many animals there, it's just a lot of people coming for the fundraiser, and that's a whole different setup, isn't it? So, yeah, all these events are just a little bit different. The outdoor ones, though, I feel like they just get to be a little much for me, and this is my way of gathering emails. So, I do volunteer for some. They asked me to do uh I don't know what it's called. Frank knows because he's doing the photos. It's at Halloween, so you all dress up and you do this 5K. And they asked me if I wanted to do the photos, and didn't do them last year, but Frank did, and he really liked it. And I said, "Oh, Frank, do you just want to do it?" I'm not as fond of doing event photos, but it's kind of fun because like the dogs are dressed up, the people are dressed up, everyone's having a ton of fun. Um, so I said, "Oh, Frank wants to do that. Why don't he do it?" And then my husband's like, "Well, we could run in the 5K." And I'm like, "What? Right? Me? We take the dog on her 1.25-mile walk, and because she sniffs a ton, it takes about 25 minutes." And I'm like, "Are you kidding? I don't wanna take an hour and a half to walk a 5K because that's 3 miles, you know?" So now we've been trying to get her on these cooler nights to go on it's a little over a 3-mile walk through the neighborhood. Still takes an hour though. I don't wanna do so anyway, I got the free tickets and we're doing the 5K. He used to do them all the time, but I know nothing about that. Okay, let's see. Back to Heather. Okay, yes, some turned out. You can always share them. Did you share them in our group on the Facebook group? We'd love to see them. Nightscape. Oh, I didn't watch that, but that looked really interesting. So did she end up talking about blending them? Like she'll go out late at night and take the pictures of the Milky Way and star trails and stuff. And then she takes a picture of a dog with particular light and then blends them together in Photoshop. That's what I assumed she was doing. I just can't stay up that late. That's what really got Steve into photography many moons ago. Haha, get it? It was astrophotography, but I just can't stay up late enough. And we have to drive like an hour at least for dark enough skies, which is a bummer, unless it's a new moon or something. Ah, it is physical work. Goodness, right? I find even when I just set up a booth, it's hard because you got the big like 10 by 10 easy up canopy, and then you got your tables and on the walls, and you're hanging up the stuff and blah. Patty. See, she suggested taking a picture of a dog at blue light hour, then taking a pic to the Milky Way later, and then blending. Okay, okay. I kind of assumed that when I popped into that session, she was just talking about doing the astrophotography. So I was like, oh, okay, I gotta go do something else. I was kind of trying to watch it in between. I don't remember what I was doing, but a lot of stuff, right? Yeah. So much more. It was brilliant. Yeah, those would be really pretty pictures for clients because they can't do it, right? So it's awesome to find a thing that your clients can't do. What would be interesting is if that's something you already like to do, get a huge variety on one night. I don't know if she taught that, but you could probably go out and get 5 or 10 different scenes if you plan it out right, and then you just have those for the next quarter or something. That'd be cool. Lisa's here. Woohoo! We took a last minute trip to Minnesota last weekend, like a week ago. And as we landed in Minneapolis, I was like, "Oh, Lisa lives here. I wonder if I can stop by and say hi and see her studio." And so we were able to meet up for an lunch, and I got to tour her studio. So thank you, Lisa, for um, having us there and taking us to a really yummy, cute restaurant. That was so great to be able to do that as our last thing before we left town. So check out our Facebook group and you'll see a picture of Lisa and I next to one of her huge samples. It's just gorgeous, so pretty, and she's got a great setup there. So thanks, Lisa. It's great to meet any of you IRL. So honestly, if you're ever passing through, I'm in Loveland, which is just an hour north of Denver, and a lot of people come through Denver. So if you ever do, look me up and we can maybe meet even halfway or something. Yay, it was good to see you. And I did enjoy my dessert bar when I finally got all the way home. I was so full from lunch, Lisa, that I didn't even eat it on the plane or in the car on the way home. I ate it I ate it the next day with breakfast. It was good. Yeah. Oh gosh. So what else is going on? This is your chance to ask questions, and I'm happy to talk about whatever you want to talk about from the Hair of the Dog Summit. As you know, I wasn't a teacher there, but I love that summit. She gets in different people every year. That's how I learned about the book project that filled my entire spring and summer calendar. So totally worth it. I didn't buy any of the courses this year, but that doesn't mean that there won't be good ones next year. And there's all kinds of nuggets everywhere, right? I'm trying to remember which other ones I really liked because I couldn't catch a lot of them. Oh, I'm trying to remember now, but we can talk about that too. Yeah. Um, and with that said, I did a poll recently in where are we? YouTube. in the YouTube community tab asking the 4 different types of content that I make, what do you like the most? And that was pretty insightful. There wasn't a lot of people that voted on that, but you still can, I think. So the top ones were behind the scenes content where I've been showing you behind the scenes of actual photo sessions, and then the business end of it. So y'all like that at the top more than gear videos, which I kind of knew. They go over better on my wildlife channel and kind of the more vulnerable stuff. I only put those out maybe once a quarter when I feel like it. So, um, that was an interesting mix. If you have other types of content, I ask it every time on the Q&A. So if there's other content, and honestly, I do have, my script is typed out. Oh my gosh. My office is such a mess. I don't know if you can see all that back there. What a mess. I do have it printed out to do my video about contests. I have one about clients. I got all kinds of things that I'm going to be recording for you. So if there's any content you want, let me know and I can make a video about it. Yeah. Patty, before you get to studio, where'd you meet for in-person sales? I met them. This was, pre-COVID, because I got my studio at the end of 2019. Before that, I was either meeting at people's homes or at a coffee shop. So I was going to coffee shops around town, and I had a friend of mine come out who is a pro photographer in her state, and she had been for many years. And she said, "Why are you going all over town for these? Pick one coffee shop." And I said, "Oh, ding, ding, ding." So there's a central coffee shop that I have a huge display up at. And so I just ended up meeting them at that same coffee shop. And if I could reserve their room, they had a really tiny meeting room that could seat up to like 8 people. And if there was nobody on the list, I could just take that room and have a private room to meet my clients. And then if they wanted to know how big my print was, I can just go out to the wall, which is bigger than this, and just take down one of my prints and bring them in. It was kind of interesting. So I did it at coffee shops or at their homes. Did that all the time. And I mean, now a lot of people do Zoom and they love it. That was one of the things on the Hair of the Dog Summit. There was the gal, she has a lot of horse photography, but she sells these big prints, and she doesn't go to no one comes to her studio anymore. She does a quick consult call by the phone, does the session, and then they do the whole sales meeting over Zoom. And she said that way, if they say, "I don't know what size I need," then she says, "Just get up out of your chair and go look." Because they're at home already. So there's definitely a way to make Zoom sales work. I guess I'm old school. Yeah. Would you like to share a bit more about your book project, lessons learned, etc.? Hoping to do a book project in 2023. Yes, I will. Hold on. Let me catch up on some of these other comments. They're kind of off to the side of my computer here. You like the behind the scenes? Yeah. I picked Lisa's brain over lunch the other day, and I have some more ideas that I can expand and make those a little bit more well-rounded. So Lisa gave me some ideas to add to those behind the scenes as well. Lisa, some of that I just have to be really careful because it's, personal client thing. So some of that could go into the membership later. So we'll see about that. You love the variety, but your favorite's behind the scenes too? Okay, okay. Yes. Corinda. What have I missed? Is there a Corinda in here? Um, could you tell me specifically what do you like about behind the scenes? The people that have said that, before I get into Lisa's question, what specifically do you like about behind the scenes? Do you like seeing how I have my gear set up, how I have them pose, how I work with the clients, how I work in the environment? I mean, you're probably going to say, "Oh, I like all that." But if there's something in particular that you go, "Oh, that's how she does it. That's how I can do that." I want to make sure I highlight that more. I know, right, Patty? So you don't like Zoom as there's technical issues with it, that if a client doesn't have their monitor calibrated, images may look too bright. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and you're gonna have that anyway. Like my secondary monitor that I show people pictures on, I say, "Listen, it's a backlit monitor. It's gonna be a little bit brighter. Don't worry, your pictures will turn out fine in the print." And they're fine. Yeah. When I put I'm eventually going to get like a big screen TV for the studio, and that will be brighter too, right? Because it's backlit, it's a screen. So you just have to, it's client education, but it's just a little more clunky, right? So if your internet connection is not great or they have a lot of noise in the background and stuff like that, I get that. Just everything about how it's done, Heather? Okay. Patty, you like to see how you set up and how you work with the clients. Also how you pick your spots. Okay, cool, cool, cool. I think, oh gosh, because I went on this trip, every time I go on a trip, I'm looking at my other screen real quick. I try to double up everything so I don't miss a week. And let me go into my YouTube studio and tell you what's coming up, because I think that's what's coming up next, actually. It's been recorded all for the whole summer. Yes. Okay. So the video coming out Friday is all about that. It's like I'm out scouting the location, and then they let me film it while we were there. And there was some Colorado dangers there. So I was really trying to keep cognizant of that. So you'll see kind of that thought process, a lot of voiceover to that piece. So I think I probably answered a lot of that, but I love comments on those videos. Let me know. Okay. A lot of client interaction. Yeah. Yeah. That always was something I wondered about too, which is part of why I started YouTube. Like, there's nothing out there for us. What do we do? It's such a different layer of complexity when you've got a dog and the people, or several dogs, that kind of thing. Yeah. So how do you direct them? Lisa, behind the scenes, specifically how to deal with challenging situations like dark or harsh lighting, dogs or humans that don't act like you'd like. Yeah. And that's another one too. Like, even if I don't have behind the scenes footage of that particular setting, I might just put together a montage of like, top tips and stuff like that. So I'll probably do that. That's really good to know. You're welcome. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and keep typing your comments because I can scroll back and see them, but I wanna go back to Lisa's. I think I wanna get permission from them. Well, I don't need permission for that, but I'll probably do a video at some point of how this entire year has gone and how I have tweaked what I learned from the course. So the course I got was from Charlotte Reeves. I don't know now because when they sold it last year, it was through the Pet Photographers Club, the course for making a book project. And then they split off, the two ladies who were running that, because the one just got really busy and she has a little kid. And so it just made more sense for them to do things separately. And so now that course is on her site. I don't remember what the site's called. But anyway, if you look up like self-publishing for pet photographers, you'll find it. And I'll put that in the video if I make a follow-up video. Oh gosh, there is so much. Like I said, I could probably do 20 minutes, but if I were to say, if you're doing this next year, probably give yourself a little more time than I gave. I did not give myself enough time. But I was really lucky that I had my sister willing to do the InDesign layout for me. And actually, I asked her, would she ever be interested in doing that for anyone else? And she said, yeah, but this was her first time. So we wanted to get through the entire process. And I actually ended up designing the cover too. So I had someone helping me with the whole InDesign layout. I think next time I'd be pulling aside the pictures and the stories much sooner instead of waiting to do it all at the end, that I could be designing a page at a time. I think that would have been a little bit better. I probably would have been a little more pushy about getting the stories immediately or having more of a fill in the blank, because people just did not know what to say. They were like, what should I say? Like I said, I only need 2 or 3 sentences. All I need is a paragraph. This is a little story about your dog that I can put with their pictures in this book. If y'all don't know what I'm talking about, I should probably back up for a second and tell you what the book project is. Because I think, Lisa, you're talking about the same one that was talked about in the summit last year. So what it is it's a fundraiser hand in hand with your photos. So my timeline was I wanted to have this book come out in November and none of the sessions be in the fall during when people would normally book. That's when I normally have most clients. When I don't have clients is spring and summer necessarily. And so I wanted something that could fill in that time. And so with the course, she leads you through all the different steps leading up to, because there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes. You have to make landing pages and payment pages and calendar pages, and you have to have some spreadsheets to keep this all in line, and the course comes with all that. But if you're a spreadsheet person, you could totally make it work. um, I ended up using probably 3 different programs to make it work, different than what she shows in the course. So there's all that I need to talk about. Um, so I ended up working the first 2 months of the year on the back end of everything, just to make sure when it went live, it was live, and letting people know it was coming up. And so and what you do is you have registrations for 2 weeks, and you try to fill in all of the sessions in 2 weeks. And you decide, you predetermine beforehand how many pets you can possibly have in this book, because you go price it out. Say, okay, if there's this many pages and each dog gets a spread and it's going to cost this much, you don't want too thick a book, it gets too expensive. And so I predetermined I'd need 35 to 40 dogs. They each get their own spread. And so by the time you launch, you give them about 2 weeks to register. And there's some questions in there too that are important to ask them. And mine were all booked within about a week. So all of my sessions are booked, and I give myself some wiggle room so I can add in a couple more, because like the founder of the shelter, she's like, "Oh, my mom, I think, wants to do it. Can she get in there?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." I gave it some wiggle room. And so you have those, and then you immediately start scheduling your planning meetings. And so I did planning meetings for like a month, and I had a predetermined list. Oh my gosh, I think I have it right here maybe. Oh, maybe it's at the studio. It's so tattered now because I took it with me to every single, yeah, look at the edges. It was in my notebook of all the different places we could possibly go for their photos, because my book was all about areas around Northern Colorado that are dog friendly. And so I want this to be a guide to where you can take your dog in Northern Colorado. So I had pre-planned all these places in my county, and I had pre-organized with 2 shelters actually. Just go with one if you can, shelter or cause. So you'll have a portion of this go towards them. I did 50% of the registration fee and 5% of everything after that. So 5% of book sales. Registration fee does not include the book. So 5% of the book sales and 5% of any sales after that. In the course, she doesn't teach you that, but I felt like it added to the funds that I could raise. So that was nice. Obviously you do what you want in there. Part of the course is a private Facebook group too, which I thought was pretty helpful. A lot of Facebook groups, they get a little like off topic and things like that, but hers was very good. I'd say, "Hey, what'd y'all do for this type of page?" And they'd show me snapshots of their book, which was great. So then you have your planning meetings, and then you just hurry and you backwards order it. So you say, "Okay, I want to have my launch party first week of November. That means I need to have it to the printer the first week of October, which means I need to start um, designing the pages first part of August." And which means all the sessions have to be done by then, and all the client meetings have to be done by August. So I had shooting time between essentially March and August. I did the first session the first day of registration because it was an adoptable dog, and that was really cool. So then you have all this time, and there was I think I did 23 sessions. Let's see. Well, here's my list. 22 sessions. I did 22 sessions for the book alone, and I did other sessions throughout that time, which is crazy. That's way more sessions than I normally do, just so you know. I don't have like people coming out of the woodwork waiting for me. But I just needed to get it all done in that time. So you got to think, how realistic is it for you to do 20, 30, 40, 50 sessions in this amount of time, especially if you only have a couple days a week or something, or weather concerns. I know some areas of the country, they're snowed in for 6 months, or they're too hot for 6 months. So that kind of thing. From there, I did not do special packages. I just had my regular price list. Everything was my normal prices, with 5% of that going to the shelters. And I decided to cut the shelters 2 checks. So as soon as the registrations were all paid for, I took that 50%, wrote them checks, gave it to them. And then the rest of the funds, I will give them at the launch party in November. Yay. I did end up switching book printers at the last second. I was going to go with Blurb, but they raised their prices so much. And I had set my prices 6 months before that. And I was like, I'm not going to make any money on this. And so we hurried up and figured out a new plan, got it all in InDesign and going with Marathon Press, which has been awesome. Boy, that guy needs a patience award, like a huge one, for all the times I've emailed him, like, well, what does this mean? And how do I do that? And how should I export it to you? And blah, blah, blah. They are so, so patient. And Marathon Press is the company that prints the PPA loan catalog, I think it's called. This big, huge book of all the award-winning photos for PPA. So I know it's going to be good quality. What else would I have done differently? I would have written more. So at this point, I had the clients writing their own stories of their dogs, and I was just gathering those and keeping them in a Google Drive or Google folder. Everything went in its own folder in different subfolders. So I had that, and then you have like a series of other pages that are like about the book, about the author, fine print, the table of contents. There's the acknowledgments. I threw in sponsorships at the back. I should have talked about that sooner because I only ended up with 6 sponsors, but that's okay. And then I had a thank you page in the back, but I had title pages for each section, but I really wish I'd written even more about the locations because it is a dog's guide to Northern Colorado. So I should have said more about, and when you go to city parks, it's like this and this and this and this and this, and give a little bit more information about that. When you go up into the wild areas, look out for rattlesnakes and be careful of changing weather in the afternoon, stuff like that. So I wish I'd really put a lot more towards just a few more pages of text in my particular type of book because it's a guidebook. But what I've decided is I'm going to do a tri-fold brochure that goes with it. And that's actually going to be my handout from now on. It's going to be my opt-in for my email list. So I'm going to actually have a brochure of all the dog-friendly places in the area. So it's going to work out. I was going to do bookmarks, but I'm going to do this instead. So I would do that different. I would just add more. Let's see, take that away. I would just add more information in there. I could have actually taken on probably 5 or 10 more clients and had plenty of room in the book without it being too bulky. So if I do another book, I'll open it up to more. Some people do the entire family. If you have 3 dogs, they all go in one spread. I wanted a spread for every single dog because they all have their own stories. So I like that idea. I'm gonna sit down actually, Lisa, and really think through some of this as I look back and go, this is what I would have done the same or different. It was really, really helpful for me to have the course, which can be expensive, but I did the monthly payment thing. So in like 2 months, I'll be done paying for it. And then I just have access to it forever. So if I do a book project next year, I can just restart the entire process. And she gives you week by week. Week 1, you do this. Week 2, you do that. Week 3, you do that. And it's got all the Google sheets ready for you. Yeah. And actually, I have the proof copy in the kitchen. If you want to see it, raise a paw if you want to see the initial proof copy. I've changed it just a tiny bit since then. Clients could pre-order my book. So what I did was I had a pre-order discount. They were $20 or $25 off. So the pre-order price was $95 up until about a month ago. And then it went up to the full price of $120. And then those sales ended Sunday. And so then I have a total now. I'm also going to buy quite a few extras because I figure at some of the smaller auctions and things, instead of giving out a full session, I'm going to give them a book because it ends up with as many books as I'm getting and as small a book as it is. It's only like 95 pages. I thought it would be more like 110, 120. That my price, don't ever quote me on this because prices change, paper changes, the shipping changes. So it's around $25 a book for the number of books I'm getting. So I'm just going to give auctions those books for a year or two. So I'm ordering quite a few extra. So yes, and I price mine higher than they suggest in the course because I felt like I could. And I was giving 5%, which most people don't do. And clients could order. They didn't have to. They didn't have to order anything. So they could just register just to be in the book, which I had a couple people do. They don't get any files with this. They don't get any prints with it. They paid the $150 registration fee plus $50 extra per dog just for being in the book. Doesn't come with anything else. No book, no digitals, no prints. And everyone's fine with that. And they like that because it was like a deal, and they get to be in this cool book throughout the community. So they were fine with it. And a lot of people were so excited that to get into my studio for a lower price and to be in a book and to be a fundraiser. It was check, check, check for me and my clients and my community. So it all worked out really, really good. Oh, that was the horse photographer. Duh. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. So if you got the Hair of the Dog full summit recordings, Corinda did a talk about doing Zoom. Well, she did everything in there, but she talked about her Zoom sales meetings. Yeah. Love hearing the book because I watched it last year in Hair of the Dog. It was a great idea. I found out I'm really project oriented and I love it so much that I'm probably going to do a book next year. Yeah, I think I will. I'm gonna ask her if she's still offering it because with the switch over to her platform for a minute, it wasn't there. And other people in the Facebook group were like, wait, I wanted to tell our photographers about this. Is it still there? So I need to get a definite from her. I think my emails have been going to her junk folder. So I got to figure another way to contact her. But maybe I can let you know of the course at that time too. Oh, everybody wants to see the book. Okay. Outdoor and studio portraits in the book. So my particular book, since it was a tour of Northern Colorado, most of it was outside. However, I did do a brewery because it was a dog-friendly brewery. I did 2 breweries, but one we just used their patio. One, it was client-owned. So my client owns that brewery, and actually, she offered for us to do the launch party there. So we are actually going to go to her brewery for the launch party. So I'll be recording that too. That's probably when I'll start recording the video for all of you. So you're not going to see the video probably till December. But you can always message me and I'll give you more information. So most of mine was outside. But with the idea that any place that I thought, if it was dog friendly, we have a really nice hotel. I thought one of the hotels would approach me, or we'd be able to go in one and just never kind of worked out. But you could do studio, you could do whatever you want. Some people do very breed specific. Some people do only rescue dogs. Some do dogs of a certain area. So it kind of started with like Tales of Melbourne, Tales of Adelaide, which are places in Australia where she's from. So if you want to be Tales of brand, you do have to get into her program to do Tales of, because she has a whole series of photographers that pay to be part of that. That's kind of how it started. So it was like these dogs posing around places. I also had one of the clients is an amazing watercolor artist, and she made the map for me. And I actually did a trade with her. So that was really, really nice. Yeah. Okay. So give me a second. I'm going to go grab, don't judge about my messy background. Let me go grab the galley copy. Okay. Sorry. Not galley copy, proof copy. So ta-da. Okay. What? Now they did not send me the cover. I think they were supposed to, but they had a mix up because there's 2 people working on my book there. So I chose to do this. You don't have to, but I thought it was very helpful. And they had a really fast turnaround at Marathon Press, partly because they're just up in Nebraska. But when I sent them the PDF, it goes to pre-press. And then pre-press sends me back another PDF proof just to make sure everything looks good. And then if I want, I can have an unbound or a hardbound proof copy sent to me. And they're different prices. There's a full price and just like I don't know how much this was, like $40 or something. And so I choose to do this. And this is mostly just to make sure everything's within the cut line. So you don't want it to bleed off the edge. And ours laid out like that anyway. We give quite a good margin. Yeah. And so then once I saw this, I made a couple of changes. I found a couple typos, once I had it in my hands, and I had Steve look through it and my sister look through it. And so I changed a couple typos. and I have a copy of the InDesign too, and then sent that PDF back to him. It's a high res print ready PDF. And so now I'm just waiting. He may have already sent me the email. I don't know. So as soon as he does, I'll give the green light to go ahead and print the bound books. And then at this point in time, it will take 3 weeks to print, and I'm going to give it a week to mail. So I should get it just at the end of October. Pause crossed, because then I have to wrap them all up and get them ready for the launch party on November 9th. So see how you have to go way back. Give yourself time. Yes. And give yourself time for weather delays too. So that's another thing. One of my little grandkids was sick, so I just want to see if he's doing okay. Oh, okay. I was supposed to talk to my sister today about the brochure we're making to go with this. And she's like, "Oh, I'm really tired. Can we do it tomorrow?" I'm like, "Oh, yeah, so that's good." My launch party is going to be in the next city over at my client's brewery. And actually, I did a YouTube video there with little Cindy Lou at the brewery. So that's where we're going to have it. You've already seen it. But they're rebranding it. They're making it under their name since they bought it just in the last few years. So what's involved in the launch party? Now, this isn't part of the course that I've seen, but I've just made it up because a lot of people haven't been able to do launch parties the last couple of years, right? So for my launch party, what I'm going to do is I decided they gave me a choice. And they said, "Hey, we're not open on Wednesdays. If you want to have it on Wednesday, you have the whole place to yourself." Or they said, "If you want to do it on a Saturday, we'll just give you like a corner because Saturdays are open day." I'm like, "Okay, yeah." So I talked to my sister. She's going to fly out for this. And we decided on the Wednesday. We're going to do a Wednesday afternoon from like 5 to 7-ish is what I've decided, just so people can come after work and they don't feel like they have to take any of their precious weekend time to come. And this is where people are going to pick up their book too, which is about a half hour from where I am. So it's kind of strange that I'm not in the main, like Loveland where I'm based, or Fort Collins north of me. But that's okay. Everyone's fine with it. So what I'm going to do, this is my personal idea. Well, do what you want. Because my studio is not big enough. It's just too small to house people. And so when they brought up their brewery, I'm like, great. So I said, I'm going to buy the 20 drink tickets. So the first 20 people who walk in get a free drink ticket. I've been to events like that and it's so great. And they have non-alcohol drinks too. Like my husband doesn't drink. So they'll be sure to have that. And then I'll either cater, or he knows somebody that can make just a couple of platters of food, just little like cheese and crackers, and then like fruit, and then maybe some cupcakes. And so that's going to be the extent of like the party thing. And then I'm going to have little gift bags. And we had 6 sponsors at the back of the book. And I've reached out to all of them and said, "Hey, do you want to add anything to the bag? Just like a business card or a brochure or a coupon, anything you want to put in there, or a little doodad, whatever you want." And they're very excited about that. So I'm going to have little gift bags for everyone who comes to the party. And then, of course, everyone who gets a book. And then I haven't decided how I'm going to package up the books. I don't want to invest in like a whole bunch of boxes because there's 41, 42, 45 pre-orders, something like that, which is a lot of books. I think more than I thought I would have. So I might just wrap them in like my paw print tissue paper. I'm not sure. Or I might just put a ribbon around them. I do want to have everybody's order ready and have them in a little bag too. Oh, I'm also going to go down to the dog treat bakery here in town and have them make a whole batch of Colorado little heart cookies for me too. So I'm going to do that too. And my sister's going to be here. It's going to be awesome. Yeah. You know what? I didn't do an actual advertisement. One thing they cover in the course is doing news blasts. Oh, what's it called when you send something to the press? Press release. Okay, the press release. I haven't had very much sleep today. You can send a press release. You can send that out and get the news stations. I might send a press release to the news station to come out to the launch party just to show, look at, my goal was to raise $4,000 for the shelters because I was supporting 2 and I wanted to be a nice round number, 2,000 each. And I'm just short of that. I raised $3,500 for the shelters. So that's cool. I'll be able to give them the rest of that at that. But there's a lot more I could have done. Mine filled up so quickly. And then I did do a ton of posts on Facebook about pre-orders. People probably got sick of it, but I don't care. They're only, 1 to 3% of people see what you post on Facebook. So I'm like, great. I'm just going to post all the time, a little bit on Instagram and a bunch in my newsletters. The newsletter got a bunch. I directly emailed every single participant and every single sponsor. And I said, this is last chance, that kind of thing. So lots and lots of emails. I use ConvertKit for my emails generally, but for this, I'm using my project management, which is HoneyBook. Does that make sense? Gosh, I hope so. And then I had blog posts as well. So it's important to have all of those things, but I could have had even more sales potentially. What they say though, is you're not going to sell a lot of the actual books except for to the people in it. I will say I had one client who bought everybody that she was going to give Christmas presents. She bought them a book. So she got quite a few. So that's cool. I had a few people do that. So here we go. Here's what the book looks like. And what we did is we went out just to Marketplace or something, or maybe went to Etsy. And if you just type in InDesign book templates, there's a bunch. Now the course comes with a basic one too. Kind of so you don't forget to fill out some of the pages in my mind. But there's so many cool ones. And my sister and I downloaded like 15 just to look through which ones we liked. And I really liked the green of this one. Well, I designed this in Photoshop. So you could do the whole thing in Photoshop, but what a chore. So this is my title page. When you first open the book, that's the first page you see. And then we've got table of contents. Another thing, Patty, or anyone who wants to do this, you need to take blank shots or like landscape photos. And I know you're really good at that. Or Lisa, take landscape photos because you're going to need them for the background of things like this and things like this. You can put a dog picture in there, but it's so nice to just have big, wide landscape photos for part of the book. We went up to the mountains and I had Steve take pictures of me and Bay together. And so we've got some of those. You might have noticed that I've changed some of my profile pics to some from that session, thank you page. So that'll be, where am I? So those will be next to each other. We picked our fonts, but you can see how I like this green edge and we gave a plenty of margin right here. It's a big project, but it's totally worth it. Oh my gosh. Do you want to see the map? She's really well known for her whimsical watercolors. So here's the map. So 2-page. Isn't that cute? Is that so cute? Yeah. So we have the map in here. And let me take you just to one of the dog pages. I don't want to get this out of order. I don't think I need it anymore, but whatever. So I've got, this is kind of fun. I'll be recording this for all of you as a pre-recorded video as well when I get my thoughts together, especially Lisa. So you want to have a shot like this, an empty shot. Like I had 3 different types of locations: city, park, wild, and urban. So you want to have some empty shots for that kind of thing. Let me see. So here's a really, really basic one. She didn't write a whole lot, but it's still really cute. Is we've got Lucy at the sculpture garden. I think there's a sculpture way back there. I don't know. Somewhere in there. I'm not sure. So this is Lucy's spread. And so we got these green boxes around, and I put the little location pin in here too and said where they are. And I added the city. So this doesn't have it, but Loveland. And so that was clearly in the spring. And this was the write-up that she'd made. She wrote this. So that's nice. I'm going to get this out of order. I just know it. Okay, Jade's right here. You all have seen this session. It's been a great year for these sessions. I'm going to show you Uric. So here's Uric's page. If you remember the Under the Spring Flowers with the Aussie and the Doberman, here they are. So very simple. We went super simple. Okay. It's a lot of work, but simplify it. In the course, she says, just choose 3 or 4 different layouts and repeat them. Just repeat them throughout the book. So we kind of sort of did that. Who did the map? Sherwood Pet Portraits. She is a local artist here. I did photograph her dogs for the book. And when we were talking about the map, my sister and I was so busy designing the book, she was going to design the map. I said, "Oh, I have this great artist." And she came through for me at the last minute, which was amazing. She's also a dog trainer. She used to be a dog groomer. Like everybody in town knows her. Oh my gosh. I put cinnamon in here and I breathed it in wrong. Sorry, excuse me, pardon me. Love it. Yeah, do you love it? Is she the dog parent for which one? I think I already answered that. We were talking about the artist. I actually got that artist rendition idea for the map from somebody else in the book group, who's doing one of her town too. And she's like, "Oh, I commissioned this artist to do this, and this is so cute." And I was like, "Oh man, I can't really afford that." But when I put the pieces together, I was like, she wanted all the digitals from her session. Maybe I can do a trade. So totally worth it. The article, she did the dog parent. Sorry, the article about the dogs. Which article? Are you talking about the write-up about each dog? I didn't ever do an article. I could have, like a newspaper blast, that kind of thing, news thing. Somehow a lot of people just signed up right away, so I filled it pretty quick, so I didn't put a lot of news blasts out there because I didn't have room anymore. I should have for the actual book sales, oops. But, you get busy. Yep, the owners wrote it themselves. So that's the bonus. So when they sign up, I have this whole series of emails. And, so as soon as they go through my HoneyBook thing, I send them another email saying, "Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to meet you and your dog. I know we've got our planning meeting. Send me a snapshot of your pet. I want to tell everybody that you're in the book." So that went all over my Instagram. And then throughout the process, I said, "Okay, I need a paragraph about each dog." And so I would pull those and just kind of put them together in a Google Doc. So I'd have them together. And yeah, they wrote them themselves. My next book, I might make it easier and just say, give stats, like fill in the blank. So I might do it a little different next time, give them a little bit of direction so it's not like so difficult for them. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so they wrote it. So that's it. That's my big book project. So yeah, and I invested quite a bit in this because I didn't even take that out of the spreadsheet. This was the first year I had Frank with me in every session. This was the first year that I have been sending all the images out for editing. Of course, I had to buy the course. The books cost money. I'm giving a big percentage of it to the rescue. So, and I ended up having some other expenses for this. So it was a little expensive to pull off, and I didn't get as much profit from it as I was hoping to. But I know if I did some tweaks, it could be a lot better. Just adding 10 more dogs to the book, and I'd be at that, maybe having a package. A lot of people do that. They're like, "This is a package exclusively for the book." A lot of people, how at the sales meeting, they're like, "I don't know, can I buy it later?" I said, "Yeah, but 5% of it goes to the shelter right now." So, it just kind of do your regular sales or not, however you want. That she has a part. You can do this just as easily in, Excel or something. Say, okay, if I had this many dogs and they were just under my ideal average, because a lot of people are coming in because it's a lower price thing and they want to be in for the prestige, right? So you're looking for averages here. So you can get close to your regular sales average, which was difficult for me because my normal session fee is 500 and they were only paying 150. So, you do some things to move it up a little bit. I could have had more people in there. Next time I won't have this one purchase that I made that I don't need to do again. I won't need to buy the course again. Yeah. So I don't know. I think I don't like the idea of giving up any of the other things. Like my editor and my assistant, like, no, I gotta keep them. I really like that. But it was a huge, huge project. So unfortunately, what happened was I didn't do other marketing. So I didn't get ahead on my marketing for fall. So now I'm really playing catch up. So next year when I do this, I will have all the systems in place and I'll know I spend the first month and a half, 2 months of the year just writing all the copy for all those. I'm just going to copy it and write new words for the next book. And so all that learning curve, I won't have to worry about. Um, so that'll make it so much better. So, yep, I think I will. Partly because it really did fill that springtime and summertime for me. Um, that a lot of people just go, oh, I'll do it later, blah, blah. But doing it here, and you're similar, Lisa, in your area of the world, and I believe a lot of us are, spring weather is just so much better. I mean, you can have snow days and strange weather like most places, but 7 a.m. in May, June, July, and August was perfect. I mean, it could have been 6 for some of those, but that's too far to try to push people's schedule. But, you had nicer weather. We weren't like 100-degree days. The bugs weren't bad. So getting those early spring, early or, late spring, early summer sessions in, it was so nice. Which I would normally get a lot more sessions in the fall. So I definitely think it's worth it again. I think I'll change it up a little and I'll have to sit down and really think about this because I haven't quite got there yet. I'm just like, can we please just press print on the book orders? Ah. I just got to get past this phase. Um, but probably make some a special product or a special bundle for the book, not available any other time. I'll probably add more dogs to the book, more copy to the book, things like that. I think I would tweak those things to try to get that average a little bit higher. Um, yeah, and I think now that I know the publisher to go with, so that's helpful. I can't get that price any lower. I know that. So yeah, maybe probably push more book sales. Um, at the full price, it's okay. It's a good deal going with so many books. I get a better deal. So those are some things just off the top of my head. You know? Ooh, I didn't mean to, like, take over the entire broadcast. I'm happy to stay on here another 10 minutes or so if y'all have more questions too, because I really do plan on making a better thought out video about this, later on in the year. What was the other thing I was gonna tell y'all? There was something else in there. Shoot, I don't remember. Ah, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, I think I would do it again. I think it would be I have so many different ideas, but I want it to be profitable. Thank you, Patty. Because there's some ideas I thought of. Like, I thought, wouldn't it be great to do a cat book? But I just don't know. I don't know if I can get enough cats in there and enough people that want to pay for big pictures of their cats. So we'll see. I thought it would be really adorable to do like pocket pets in the studio and have these really cool setups, but no one's going to spend, $1,500. I don't know. Maybe they will, for that. I really would really love to do, kids and their pets, but because I'm not a children's photographer specifically, I want to make sure that everything's super safe. So, I'm probably gonna hold off on doing that and have like a minimum age, like they have to be over 4 or something like that. So kids and pets is something I would do, I think. I'll probably do one about dog activities, something like that. There are people that do very breed specific. One person's doing, and her books are for sale right now, so you can check out her page, but I don't remember what it is. I think she's up in Nova Scotia, and she's doing tollers. I don't even know. I've never even heard of tollers, but they look like golden retrievers, kind of. She's doing a whole book on that, and she's had some great success with it. So she's doing very breed specific. Some people stick in very one specific area of their, city, county, whatever. There was one person a few years ago did the Space Coast. So in Florida, all along the Space Coast. Wouldn't that be fun? Now, obviously, she can't do that this time of year, but that'd be a good spring project. So there's tons and tons of ideas. I try to meld what would have the most variety and the most sellability on the back end for pictures like this for their home, right? Yeah, 5 Rover, I know, and, I'm pretty good at photographing kids, I am, um, and I like it, but with adding the kids and the dogs, and sometimes the stress of the parents wanting it to turn out, they need to be a little bit older, yeah. Andrea, I jumped on a bit late, just wanted to say, "Hey, you'll wanna watch the rest of this. If you're interested at all in doing a book project," I actually did talk to another friend of mine in town. She does a lot of, branding photos. She runs actually one of the networking groups, and she might do a magazine. So she's thinking about doing every 3 or 6 months a magazine. So she'll get together some of the ladies, they'll be able to highlight their, businesses in this magazine, kind of like a guide to female-owned businesses in the area, and, then they could this is their headshots and their branding shots, so they pay for their branding session, and by the way, they're gonna be in this magazine. So a magazine could be a way to go. I just didn't wanna print that much, you know? But I encouraged her, I said, "Yeah, that'd be amazing, that'd be amazing." So another like fill in the blank, here's my basic information, kind of like what you have on your about page and contact page. You put that in that guide. So that'd be cool. Let's see. You have family who live in Florida. Could probably do things year round there. Just have to dodge hurricanes. Yes. So like right now, right now don't want to be in Florida. I've been watching my daughter. She's in Georgia. Hope they do okay. They have a plan. They have a plan. Let's see. Love that you're chatting about a book. I was so interested last year, and I'm in the pre-planning phase, as in Canada. 2022 started in lockdown. Yeah, but I'm learning so much from you. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. And I would think, yeah, lockdown. I mean, you can't do anything about it, right? So if you have the course, though, Dana, I would say get in there and get as much as you can set up. There's so much you have to write. There's so many emails, there's so many landing pages, blog posts, Facebook things, press releases if you're going to do that, talking to the people who are going to get the funds from this. There's a bunch that has to happen in the background. So it could take you 2 months to do that. I did probably a full-time 1 week to do some of that. And then you have to have your friends test it out for you. Did everything work right? Did you get the emails? So I would say get it ready. So you just have to press go when you're ready to do it. Yeah. But I think it's been very enriching for me. My community's really loved it. These are going to be pieces of marketing that I do for years. So probably at least the next 2 years while I work on other books potentially. I have another huge, huge project here that I'll know more about. Mm. I can't tell you. A big project that I'm doing for me that I'm going to share with all of you. So that will take up some of my attention next year. But I'm hoping to do a book again. I don't know. I think it'd be good. Oh my gosh, it's 4:03. I want to respect your time, and so I don't want to take up more of your time. But since I took up so much of your time, if anyone who wants to stick around for the next 5 or 10 minutes, if you have other pet photography questions that you couldn't get in because I was talking about this so much, feel free to type them in the chat here, and we'll talk about them for the next few minutes. If you have to go, that's totally fine. I understand. We'll have another one of these at the end of next month. I'm going to continue these Q&A 1-hour live streams once a month, even when I get my community center membership going back up at Pro Pet Photog. So that will open up in December, and I'll tell you a lot more about that later. I'm working on all kinds of workshops for that. So it's going to be one concept workshops. So I'll tell you more about that as we get closer to the end of the year. I have an amazing, amazing guest speaker the first month in January. So I'll tell you more about that, but I want to go through this. I'm watching for your comments. Lots to do over at propetphotog.com. Be sure to sign up for the email list. If you are not on the email list, I send that every Friday. I tell you what's coming live here as my produced video on YouTube, behind the scenes, all kinds of things. Check out Pro Pet Photog, all kinds of stuff over there. Here's our Facebook group, bit.ly/ProPetPhotogFB. And there is a page now that goes with that too, just pro pet photo, right? And the Instagram and the podcast. I've got the next season of the podcast. One just dropped today. So you're welcome. And then there's my direct email. So feel free to direct email me as well. We had some really great conversations in the Facebook group. I really encourage you to do that. That's a free group. It's a private group. Again, answer every single question or I will ignore your request. But I think most of you on the live are in there. So, and if you just caught this, I try to go back and rewatch it and put chapters in. Although honestly, a good half of this at least is just going to be about the book project I worked on. So there you go. So Andrea, that's kind of what we've been talking about. All right. I'd love to continue the conversation over in the group if you want, throughout every single day. We have fall season coming up here in the Northern Hemisphere. So if you're looking for ways to get ahead for the fall and looking forward to next year, we knock around ideas in there all the time, not just from me, from all of you. You're so generous and helpful in there. So that support is fantastic. Any other thoughts coming in before we say our little outro here? Looking for recommendations for lighter gear. I'm developing tendonitis in my hands due to weight of full frame DSLR. Well, I have sad news for you. There isn't any unless you go like Micro Four Thirds, because the mirrorless aren't any lighter. Once you get that really heavy lens on there, they're just not lighter. Sorry. I don't know what to tell you. I think that someone needs to design like a little hover thing so we can have anti-gravity at the bottom of our cameras. I can't do pet photography on a tripod. That would be one way. Some people rock at it. They can really be nimble with a tripod or a monopod. That could help. I don't remember what brand you have, but some of the brands are coming out with like version 2s of their lens, which are lighter. So like my Sony 200, which I love, is pretty heavy and it's the original version. They came out with a new version that's 25% lighter. So when you're ready to upgrade your lenses, the newer versions could be quite a bit lighter and that helps. I will eventually be building a stand for my studio. So, I don't have to be all the way on the ground and holding up my camera. So I think that's going to help too. So I have a video that'll come out here in a few weeks that I was able to sit in a chair in my studio and photograph the cats that way. And so I could have more support. So that might be something too, but it's really difficult to get lighter gear because at the pro level, it's good glass. I know. I hope that answered that, Lisa. Oh, thank you. And thank you, Patty. Thank you, Heather. All right. We got anything else, everybody? Mirrorless lighter, but the lenses are still a bit heavy. Yeah. I think I was just talking to someone recently too, and they're like, I really thought this whole setup was be lighter because I got mirrorless and it's not. What? Oh, darn it. Yeah. Unless you suddenly change your style and you just want to do all kind of wide angle or something, or 50 mil. You could probably get away with lighter gear if you change your whole style, but I don't think you want to do it. All right, let's say our little outro here, everyone. It's so great to see you. Thanks so much for showing up and being part of this discussion. You're awesome. Aren't we the best? And you, and you, and you. Yes. So what do we all say? You can say it with me. All right, I'm going to go. As always, I wish you many woofs, purrs, and TREATSs. Okay, have a good one. We'll talk soon, okay? Okay, bye.